Sabino's take on this. I kind of, I hate that I'm going to agree with him.
Honestly, what was amazing about that New York Times documentary was the suggestion that people who obsessively follow Britney Spears caused her to become mentally ill, but also people who obsessively follow Britney Spears should now make mental decisions for her. I find the public push, especially from a media that should know better, pretty disturbing. So I've noticed a lot of focus around the Britney Spears story. So the New York Times brought out a documentary, I think in February, about Free Britney, the Free Britney movement. It is a terrible documentary. I mean, truly a bad documentary. The reason I say that it's bad is because it actually deals with none of the major underlying issues. So the whole thing is about Britney Spears being placed under conservatorship.
Never mind. I thought I would end up agreeing with Ben Shapiro, but turns out I was wrong. Never mind. I thought he was going to take like a Free Britney approach.
Her father is her conservator. The reason that she was placed under conservatorship is because apparently she was suicidal. It seems like she was suicidal, that she suffers from, at the very least, bipolar. We don't actually know her mental health situation because nobody has access to that information. What we do know is that before she had a conservatorship, she involved herself in a bunch of bizarre behavior, up to and including violent behavior. The risk of doing violence to herself, she was placed on what's called the 5150 hold in California, which means a mental health hold because you are a danger to yourself or others. And conservatorship is not a lightly undertaken process in the state of California. To actually be given a conservatorship, you basically have to demonstrate that you are a continuing danger to yourself or others.
Yeah, why agree with someone before you hear what they have to say? That's so weird, dude. How much are you watching this guy that you feel like you'd be agreeing on a human rights issue? I mean, I really did think that this was going to be at least one human rights abuse that this fucking libertarian dipshit would not side with the big government overreach on. But then again, he's unironically anti-abortion, so I don't think female bodily autonomy is something that he's ever considered in his life. So
you cannot take care of yourself. Now, people seem to think that because Britney Spears can perform, this means that in the rest of her life, she's doing fine. Well, there's very little evidence of that. So the entire documentary begins with a bunch of people who...
Wait, there's very little evidence of that? What the fuck? Wait, hold on. You have no evidence at all that her conservatorship should be extended and continued. You have a fuckload of evidence that, like, she is a victim of domestic abuse from her abusive father, who's an alcoholic. You have evidence to point that, like, she's capable of, you know, making millions and millions of dollars, but that's not enough evidence to be like, well, she can't demonstrate that she can't demonstrate that she's good at, like, dealing with herself and having autonomy. But you have zero evidence to point to the contrary as to why her conservatorship should be justifiable or continued, and you're still taking that position. You have significantly less evidence.
Who themselves seem kind of crazy, right? Rallying outside of a courthouse, talking about Free Britney, hashtag Free Britney. It interviews at length people who spend their time decoding Britney Spears' Instagram feed, which I'm not sure why that is a good source for a documentary. I mean, those could be QAnon folks. Like, you just don't know. Anybody who spends all day online decrypting signs is probably somebody you don't want to trust on whether somebody has a mental health problem that requires outside help.
To be fair, I hate to say it, and people are going to get triggered because I know I picked up some Free Britney people, but, like, that part is not crazy. I know that the Free Britney movement actually was able to get a lot of attention to this issue, but he's not fully wrong about it beyond, like, you know, analysis and decryption of, like, secret Instagram posts, messages, you know?
What we know is that Britney Spears was a child star that is pretty much horrific for anybody.
No, the Free Britney movement was correct, that she was... Free Britney movement is correct overall in the overarching argument that they launched, which is that this person should not be under this incredibly restrictive conservatorship agreement. But when it goes to the lengths where it's like, oh, well, we analyze, like, Instagram descriptions, well, then yeah. Uh-oh, Hasan added some nuance to his stance on this, so now chatters are gonna go nuts again. Yeah, pick a side, dude. Why the fuck do you love conservatorships and think they're the best thing that could have ever happened? And why do you love that it's happening to Britney Spears? Pick a fucking side, dude.
Anybody who's involved in being a child star, I know people who have been child stars. It is not good for families. It is not good for children. Britney Spears was basically abandoned at the age of 15 by her parents in New York, and that was a sin. It shouldn't have happened. And then she was turned into a child star, and then she was sexualized at an extremely early age, obviously with Oops, I Did It Again, dressed in the bare midriff Catholic schoolgirl uniform. I believe she was 16 when she did that. And she was turned into a sex symbol before she was of age, which was really ephemophilic and terrible for American society. It was terrible to her. It was terrible of her parents. And this is a big issue at the time, obviously. And the way that the New York Times treats this whole thing in their documentary is Britney Spears would have been fine, except for the paparazzi, who apparently drove her crazy, despite the fact that we have literally thousands of people who are followed by the paparazzi all over the world and have never been placed under conservatorship.
My man said ephemophilic. Okay, never mind. He is a libertarian.
We know that she became so unstable that in a custody hearing between her and her husband, Kevin Federline, she was not granted full custody or even half custody. It was like a 70-30 custody arrangement, I believe, or an 80-20 custody arrangement. Okay, now that really cuts against the grain in California. In California, the laws regarding custody in a divorce hearing really favor the mom pretty heavily. But she was not given full custody. In fact, she was given the minority of the custody, which...
Oh, God, I hate that Ben is making the same point that I made earlier, which, in my opinion, was like at least somewhat evidence that there could have been some things that we are unaware of.
Suggested that the court, even in that case, thought that Britney Spears was suffering from some pretty severe mental problems. And then you had all the outside symptoms, right? You had her dropping off the map for months at a time. You had her being put on the 5150 hold. Even of late, you had the situation where she was supposed to take up residency at the end.
By the way, that's just I use that as evidence to at least be a little bit more critical and not immediately say like there was no use for the conservatorship, judging by what people around her had said at the time as well. Even then, though, I feel like it's too aggressive. I just don't know. There must have been something that we don't know, but it certainly doesn't. It's certainly inappropriate for as long as it went on for. And also, even beyond that, if there is no additional evidence that we weren't privy to, then it's fucking completely preposterous. And at the very least, an investigation should be conducted. So my position is not the same as Ben Shapiro's in that, with respect to that. Like, I do think that we should find out, or at least the proper authorities should conduct an investigation to find out whether it was appropriate to begin with.
MGM in Las Vegas, and instead of doing a performance, she just walked off the stage right to her car, and then she went missing for a while. And the New York Times has big sources on this. The people who they talk to in this documentary are people like her personal assistant for several years, who was hired by the family to kind of be her chaperone for several years, but who has not been that for many years. Lawyers who are not involved in the case and who haven't seen any of the internal documents. People who are online fans who hold hashtag Free Britney signs. And here's my question. Do any of them have any information that suggests that she is mentally well enough to handle her own business?
Dude, what the fuck? Dude, he's crazy, dude. It's like, I feel like he just sits in front of a blackboard and he just like mathematically, he puts together like a math equation to figure out scientifically the worst position to take on every issue. Libertarian, by the way. Libertarian, by the way. Talked about ephebophilia, but then also simultaneously is like totally on board with the government allowing a person to be completely subjected to slavery. Why is the default assumption that she isn't okay? It has to be proven that she can be okay on her own before the conservatorship ended. Wait. Default position that she can be. Well, I mean, they obviously proved it to a certain point. That part could be bastardized. That part could be totally fucked up and flawed or even fraudulent. But you can't just like sign off on a conservatorship without proof that someone is incapable of taking care of themselves.
Because I promise you, the court has seen more information than any of these people have. Now, it may be that the court is somehow corrupt. It may be that the court is somehow doing something wrong. But again, the standards for conservatorship in the state of California are not low.
There was a photo of her driving on with her kid in her lap. Yeah, that's idiotic, dude. That's not enough to fucking, like, that's crazy. I know. That's, oh, okay. I guess she should be enslaved. Like, oh, never mind, dude. Okay. I mean, she's redneck, dude. It's like real hick mom behavior, okay? Yeah, some of you have never been to Louisiana and it shows. Feel me? Sorry, like. My argument isn't like she shaved her head, she almost dropped her kid, and she had her kid on her lap while she was driving like a fucking, like millions of redneck moms all around the country. Okay? My point is, in the beginning, there might have been something more that they were able to show in a court that we are unaware of because of currently, like because of pre-existing laws that, you know, would make this a HIPAA violation for us to even know about, because it's a deeply personal thing. But even then, it doesn't matter. It's like nothing. You can't justify a 13-year conservatorship agreement where like her finances are completely limited, but she's still making millions and millions of dollars and being forced to fucking work and shit. Like, that's nuts. It makes no sense. It's ridiculous. You have to be like just delusionally blind with your loyalty to the American criminal justice system, specifically the pussy-ass libtard California criminal justice system, which Ben Shapiro surprisingly is defending hook, line, and sinker, to think that the continuation of the conservatorship for 13 years is justifiable when she was literally touring the world and doing TV shows, had a residency in Vegas. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Oh. Okay, according to the Superior Court of California, a mental health conservatorship, which is an LPS conservatorship, makes one adult, the conservator, responsible for a mentally ill adult, the conservatee. The most common illnesses under the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, this is according to the Santa Clara court system. They have a good summary of this. The most common illnesses are serious biological brain disorders like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, schizoaffective disorder, clinical depression, and obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, they have to be pretty serious.
What the fuck? OCD is enough? Dude, that's crazy. I'm glad that like more people don't get locked into conservatorships. Like, just being bipolar or having OCD, Jesus Christ. Like, that's like all of this stuff can, I know OCD can be really crippling, guys, but it's wild that like some people understand what I'm trying to say. Why can't chat be charitable to things that I'm trying to say? Imagine someone with OCD getting locked into a conservatorship. I know that it can be completely debilitating. I understand, but there's still a range, right? That's what I'm fearful of. And by the way, disability activists literally agree with me on this. So shut the fuck up. I don't mean like I'm not devaluing OCD and how debilitating it can be. Same with bipolar. Same with all the other mental health problems that Ben Shapiro mentioned. Just shut up, okay? I'm saying that like the fact that that is like enough in the eyes of the fucking legal system is like crazy, dude. Like it worries me. It worries me that someone who has like OCD to the degree that they have to be hospitalized could be used in a court of law to, like, you know, to be, that would be used in a, that could be used in a court of law to be like locked into a conservatorship, dude. That's nuts.
There are a lot of people who have kind of low-level OCD. They're not going to end up in conservatorship. There are people who handle their bipolar disorder with medication. They're not going to end up in a conservatorship. But honestly, one of the reasons that you see such a huge homeless problem in places like California is because it is very, very difficult to get adults institutionalized or to provide conservatorships for adults without their permission. So the fact that Brittney Spears actually was placed into a conservatorship suggests that all available evidence suggests that she has a very severe problem, obviously, which is why a court.
What all available evidence? No, you're literally just saying, okay, that's bullshit. I never said that. I said that on top of the things that we have seen in public, there had to have been at least some level of evidence that we're not privy to as a consequence of, you know, HIPAA laws and shit like that, because it's a deeply private matter, that justified the conservatorship originally, potentially. And even then, I'm saying, like, it's still, I would like to see the evidence. You know what I mean? Because if his argument unironically is like, well, Brittney Spears shaved her head, and then, hypothetically, she drove a car, and the baby was sitting in the front seat, and that's enough evidence for me to know that she does not deserve to have autonomy over her own body, then you're a psychopath. Okay? This is insane. No, his argument is the same as you, that the court probably had the evidence. No, but he's not just saying that. He's taking it one step further.
Provide conservatorships for adults without their permission. So the fact that Brittney Spears actually was placed into a conservatorship suggests that all available evidence suggests that she has a very severe problem, obviously, which is why a court found this week that her conservatorship should not be removed.
Yeah, no, never mind. He is just saying that, like, the fact that she was placed in a conservatorship to begin with means that there was enough evidence. Never mind.
And one of the things that you may have noticed is that since she has been placed in conservatorship, she has not.
I misunderstood. I thought he said, like, there's obviously very available evidence out there.
All of her money. She has not blown through all of her money. She has not attempted suicide so far as we are aware. Her father, for all the grief that he is getting, apparently has been protecting her from the paparazzi. Honestly, what was amazing about that New York Times.
Oh my God! Dude, are you fucking insane? Dude. Oh, wow. Dude, that's really bad. He's a really bad person. Ben Shapiro is a horrible person, dude. Oh my fucking God, dude. That's insane. Apparently, the father is protecting her from paparazzi. But one, there are new laws in place. And also, Instagram. We talked about this extensively when I was covering the Free Brittney movement. That, like, a big part of what made paparazzi so aggressive was because of how much money they could get. Because previously, you could not find celebrities, like, and you know, living out their, like, personal lives and shit like that. But that kind of went away after Instagram came into play and celebrities were willingly posting about themselves. But also beyond that, laws were put in place that made it illegal for what paparazzis do. So that's kind of an important point that Ben is just not even glancing at. Oh my God, dude. It's cool. It's cool to say slavery is a-okay. After all, none of the slaves right now are trying to kill themselves. And in the process of being enslaved, the paparazzi can't attack Britney Spears. So it's very good, actually. Yeah.
Times documentary was the
The
suggestion.
insane legal system in California. Insane that a diagnosis can be used in court. Can't understand why gun advocates take certain positions.
The people who obsessively follow Britney Spears caused her to become mentally ill, but also people who obsessively follow Britney Spears should now make mental decisions for her. Should make decisions on behalf of a court. If celebrity destroyed Britney Spears, more celebrity ain't going to be the cure. Exposing her directly to that ain't going to be the cure. According to Variety.com, new court documents that were filed by the Los Angeles Superior Court on Wednesday show the judge denied a months-old request by Spears' attorney, Samuel Ingram III, to remove her father, Jamie Spears, as her sole conservator. The documents are not in direct response to last week's hearing, where Spears gave an explosive testimony.
Like, what's the situation for a libertarian to agree with, like, losing your own bodily autonomy? Just avoiding paparazzi? Is that a good enough situation that justifies just completely taking away all bodily autonomy? Hey, doesn't matter. Ultimately, hypothetically, you're no longer seeing paparazzi. You're not trying to kill yourself. So I think it's a win-win. I think I hate to bring this up, but I mean, this is literally because Ben doesn't think women should have autonomy. Straight up. It's like any situation that hypothetically allows a woman to be enslaved is a good one. It's literally just, what the fuck?
Though Spears delivered a powerful 24-minute statement, the judge cannot make any ruling based on what she said, as she is still yet to file a petition to terminate her conservatorship. So she hasn't even filed. People are saying, oh, the court is biased against her. She hasn't even filed the paperwork to terminate her conservatorship at this point.
Imagine my surprise when I find out another conservative is not on board with freedom. Individual liberties. Imagine my surprise when I found out that here we have yet another pro-slavery conservative. Fuck, man. So different. I mean, so different than conservative positions always.
The court said the conservatives' request to suspend James Spears immediately upon the appointment of Bessemer Trust Company of California as sole conservator of the state is denied without prejudice, meaning she can refile it. By the way, Bessemer then said they don't want to be involved in the case because they don't like the publicity.
Wait, $2K a week equals slave wages? Are you fucking stupid, dude? Wait, where is that idiot? Where is that idiot? Bro, she literally rakes in like $100 million or some shit. Like her net worth is like $100 million, and she only gets given $2,000 a week of that money. Are you fucking nuts? Like, she literally is not. It's actually like saying, well, you know, how could you say slavery is bad? After all, these slaves were living in a house. They had a shelter over their heads. The problem with that is that if it were, it's not up to her, okay? It's not up to her. She's only getting $2K a week of the millions of dollars a week that she generates, dude. Yeah, she's not getting paid $2K a week. She's allowed to spend $2K a week of her own money that she makes maybe $1 million a week.
The paperwork was solely intended for the...
Dude, the worst part is, like, her lawyer that is keeping her shackled gets paid 5 times more than she does to do that, to continue this process.
Judge to approve Bessemer Trust as the co-conservator, but also reiterates the judge's decision to not remove the elder Spears from the pop star's conservatorship. The document was signed after the singer's explosive testimony where she told the judge that her conservatorship was abuse. Now, again, one of the problems here is People who suffer from mental illness are not reliable narrators. They are not. Okay, I have people in my family who have had severe mental illness. They're not reliable narrators of their own life story. I've talked about.
Oh, brother. Yo, this is like, listen, by the way, disability activists in the chat, if you haven't already left because you think I'm the worst ableist to ever, cross your crosshairs. This is horrific, okay? He is being extremely ableist. This is actual ableism. For those of you who don't know, for those of you who don't understand, like, saying that someone with a mental health problem is not a reliable narrator is psychotic. It's literally saying, like, yeah, you have a disability, like, you're not human, okay? We will unironically take your humanity from you. We can do whatever the fuck we want with you. Put you in a camp, whatever. You're just, you have a disability, so sorry. Like, it's not fucking, he's not saying going outside. This isn't a moment where it's like debatable where, touch grass is ableist. He's just straight up saying, like, you're disabled, no rights for you, and no one should believe you in a lot of instances. Okay?
About the fact that my grandfather suffered from schizoaffective disorder. When he was schizoaffective, he was not in a position to make decisions for himself or his family. He ended up in an institution for a short period of time before he.
Wow, dude, it's crazy. Like, all people with mental illnesses are the same. It's not a fucking spectrum. Like, that's why I said I understand the conservatorship argument. Like, my grandmother has Alzheimer's, okay? I get that. Like, she would not be able to take care of herself if it wasn't for her family taking care of her every step of the way. Okay? I totally understand that. My grandmother is also diagnosed with Alzheimer's, like late stage at this point, and has been for years. Very different than, a 39-year-old woman who is raking in $100 million a year. My grandmother can't fucking make money, okay? She can't. She can barely fucking walk on her own. She would not be able to feed herself, okay? If it wasn't for someone who is taking care of her. Stop saying anecdotal evidence, idiot. He's giving anecdotal evidence, and I'm giving another anecdotal. It's not evidence. I'm giving you a personal experience that I have with the subject to tell you that there's a difference between the spectrum of disorders and disabilities, and someone who can demonstrate that they're making $100 million a year by fucking literally being in front of the camera, performing, going all around the world, and doing all this shit like a show pony, is a little bit different than someone who deserves, who would be better off under a conservatorship.
He was on his medication. Like, actually, it wasn't a short period. It was like 8 months. It was for a significant period of time. The notion that people who are severely mentally ill are capable of making their own decisions is not correct. And it's quite dangerous to those people. According to Variety, Spears' case has garnered an enormous amount of global attention, with pressure mounting to support the pop star and remove her father from the conservatorship. But again, it is not supporting people who are mentally ill to treat them as fully capable of making decisions for themselves. It's not true. Wednesday's court filing states the court found Spears to be, quote, substantially.
They should ask Ben Shapiro if, like, his grandfather, who was institutionalized, one, appreciated that, and two, was he capable of doing the same things that Britney Spears is, like, demonstrably capable of doing that we have been able to see with our own two fucking eyes and hear with our own two ears? You know what I mean? Like, probably not, I assume. I assume both are no's, okay? The answer to both of them. Yeah, Ben's argument can be reduced to, if you think about it, hypothetically, treating mentally ill people like full-fledged human beings is actually not good. That's literally what he's saying. My grandfather was mentally ill, and we institutionalized him, and that was actually pretty good, hypothetically. This is a weird take. Severely disabled people can be exploited too, lol. No, I completely understand that. And they do get exploited.
actually unable to manage his or her financial resources or to resist fraud or undue influence. Again, the documentary, the Framing Brittney documentary from the New York Times, really...
It's actually, yeah, isn't it unethical to parade around a mentally ill person? Like, that's the other part. If the conservatorship is justifiable, isn't it kind of worse that you, like, literally were abusing and exploiting someone for years? Like, this person can't take care of themselves, but you literally force them out in public and, like, literally force them to make shit so you can make money. Like, that's... I mean, they're just not a human. They're not. We're treating Britney Spears like an animal. That's it, okay? That's literally it. If it's justifiable, if a 13-year-long conservatorship is justifiable, then it's ridiculous that the people that were in charge of that conservatorship were literally just fucking, you know, keeping her or parading her around and making her do shit.
He does gloss over the relationship that she had with this guy named Sam Lufty, who was sort of this weird guy, apparently, who sort of came from nowhere. According to Oxygen.com, Lufty claimed to be Spears' new manager. Her family said he was a catalyst for her downfall. By 2008, the same year that Jamie Spears was named conservator, the family had filed a restraining order against Lufty. In a 2008 motion, her mom, Lynn, claimed that Lufty, quote, essentially moved into Britney's home and is purported to take control of her life, home, and finances. Lynn Spears alleged Lufty took control of her medication, cut her phone lines, controlled, manipulated her. The family believed that he intentionally drugged and confused her.
Dude, you're so fucking stupid. It's an 11-minute video. Of course I'm going to add commentary on top of it. Like, bro, I literally lived for 50 minutes. You're still in Stone Lock. Holy shit. Like, I don't know why people just come in here and assume that we're just going to watch a video with no commentary. Just go watch it on your own, you fucking idiot. Okay? You're going to get commentary on top of a fucking 11-minute video, okay? Just like you're going to get the top of the hour ad break right now, actually. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to fucking do is subscribe, okay? You can subscribe for $5 or for free with a fucking Twitch Prime. Not everything is a goddamn stun lock, okay? God damn, dude. It's not even, yeah, I'm not even doing a stun lock. I'm just like reacting to the dumbass things that he's saying. My lord, dude. Twitch Prime is free. Or you can use an ad block or a VPN. All right? Here's the ad break now.
And there was a restraining order, a 3-year restraining order granted against him in 2009. They took out a second 5-year restraining order against Lufty in 2019, barring him from contacting Spears and referring to him as a parasite. Okay, so again, that just gets completely glossed over in all of this because, again, all of this cuts in favor of the fact that Britney Spears does not seem fully capable of taking care of her own life. And again, letting her perform on stage is not the same thing as letting her, in the same way, by the way, that it's almost as though she's frozen in time. Child stars perform. They're not in control of their finances. They're not in control of their life. Mentally incompetent people can perform. This does not mean that they have solid control over their life or are not a threat to themselves or others. Apparently, Variety is reporting that Spears' father's attorney filed paperwork on his behalf. According to his attorney, Mr. Spears is concerned about the management and care of his daughter. Based on her statements to the court, Mr. Spears is concerned the petition to appoint Jody Montgomery, filed by...
Conservatives saying that someone is, you know, frozen in time is pretty funny. When conservatism is literally the ideology of freezing time.
Spears' court-appointed counsel Samuel Ingram does not reflect her wishes. Ms. Spears told the court on June 23rd she is opposed to being under a conservatorship and revealed her ongoing disputes with Ms. Montgomery about her medical treatment and other personal care issues. Meanwhile, despite her father's perspective and the judge's ruling, the pop star says she wants her father out and she wants to end her conservatorship altogether. She said, I cried on the phone for an hour. He loved every minute of it. She said, referring to her father, the control he had over someone as powerful as me. He loved the control to hurt his own daughter 100,000%. He loved it. She said, I want my life back. It's been 13 years. It's enough. It's been a long time since I've owned my money. It's my wish and my dream for all this to end without being tested. Again, she lives in a very big house. She has access to her kids again. You know, all of this relies on a fact, not in evidence, and that only the court has seen. If you believe in the Free Britney thing, it's because you are relying on rumors. The only people who have seen the actual mental health information surrounding...
Dude, he's literally saying that the courts are correct. He's just saying that the courts are correct. And there is no reason to suspect that there is foul play here. And that you don't believe, like, just don't believe your lying eyes, okay? Again, I'm just going to repeat something here. If you are justifiably in a 13-year-long conservatorship, if you are justifiably in a 13-year-long conservatorship, then it makes no sense that you should be paraded around like a fucking show pony and make hundreds of millions of dollars a year. It's one or the other. You can't have it both ways. It makes no sense. Also, Ben is a cuck to the Ben is literally a cuck to the California court system. Okay? My man is just defending whatever the fuck they're putting out here right now, which is wild. Even if there is actually like something that does not make sense. Something as simple as like you're able to make $100 million a year, but you can't take care of yourself. And you want to get out of it, but like the court system is not letting you get out of it. It's wild. It's very weird.
Brittney Spears are the people of the court, right? The actual judges who adjudicate these cases. And they have looked at the evidence and they have repeatedly decided over the course of more than a decade that Brittney Spears is not capable of handling her own life. So who are you going to believe? The folks who are doggedly reinterpreting her Instagram page, or a court that has to look at this evidence every few months? And here's the testimony firsthand, not rumors of the testimony.
I mean, dude, I wonder why the court could fucking have such a take when, I don't know, people like you who went to Harvard law unironically advocate to hundreds of thousands of people that like disabled people just should have no autonomy. I wonder how a court system that routinely denies autonomy to disabled people would then go on and do such a thing again. Perhaps it has something to do with the fact that we literally look at disabled people as like not full human beings. I don't know. Maybe.
It's amazing how folks without information want to jump to conclusions. And frankly, as somebody who actually cares about the wellness of mentally ill individuals and making sure that they're not victimized by others, I find the public push, especially from a media that should know better, pretty disturbing.